Here.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Here.
Commissioner Shelley,
Here.
Mr. Lawson,
Here.
Mr. Wolpen.
Here.
I have a quorum.
Thank you. Do you need to do anything to allow the people to come in now, or is that all taken care of?
Yeah, they're all in. We have 10 people in the attendance room.
Okay, all right. This meeting shall be held in accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 2020-69, extended through Executive Orders 2112, 2123, 2139, 2150, 2179, and 2193. Because of COVID-19 and the need to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare, this meeting is being conducted remotely via Zoom. Due to the ongoing state of emergency and the recommendations from all public health authorities, the City of Aventura recommends that all persons view and participate in the meeting through electronic means. Members of the public have been directed on how to access the meeting through the agenda posted online at the Government Center. Members of the public will be able to provide comments via audio when the item is open to public comment. The city clerk will provide direction on how to participate when the item is open for public comment. Can I please now ask everyone to please stand up as we say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A little hard to be synchronous on a Zoom. I'm going to request that the attorney read Ordinance A.
Thank you, Mayor. Public hearing, first budget hearing. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, establishing and adopting the City of Aventura ad valorem tax operating millage levy rate at 1.7261 mils per $1,000 of taxable assessed property value, which as a percent change of rolled back rate of 1.7472 mils is negative 1.121% computed pursuant to state law for the 2020 tax year, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, can I please have a motion for approval of the ordinance? Made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Mizrahi. I'm going to request that the city manager review the item. But prior to his review, I would just like to commend and make sure the public knows that all of the employees in Aventura got a 3% raise. And I think in these times when we know people are really hurting, as a commission, we put our employees first. And it was a 7-0 vote. And I think you can all be very proud of yourselves. Now I'm going to ask the city manager to review the item.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. This ordinance, which was stated, we are adopting, or we're proposing to adopt a millage rate of 1.7261, which has been the millage rate for the last over 20 years, as long as the city has been around. That'll yield approximately $17,300,195 from an assessed value of $10,550,216,844. Normally, Aventura is very conservatively budgeted, but considering the events over the past year, during the budget workshop, we presented a budget that was extremely conservative, where we really looked at our revenues and where we pushed them down more than we would normally, because we didn't know and we didn't have as much good information as we normally would develop at that time to project out revenues. We held our expenses very, very static and really did only what we needed to do to maintain city operations and also do city services. So the residents will see the city operate as it normally does with Public Works, our police department, and various other city services. The city will be landscaped, the roads will be maintained, and you'll see that throughout the year. So that is this ordinance, and that's what it does. It's setting this tax rate, which, as also was stated, was really a tax decrease because there was a slight reduction in the property values this year.
Okay, thank you. And I really want to, on behalf of the entire commission, thank Brian Reducci for all the hard work that he did on this budget. And I'm opening the item for public comment. I'm sorry. I'm opening the item if any of the commission has any questions or comments. You have to raise your hands. Dr. Marks.
Just a point of clarification, when our attorney read the ordinance and he talked about the rollback rate of 1.742 mils, which is, he said, which is minus 1.121. Just clarification for the record that it's minus 1.21.
Well, you're correct. 1.21 is the correct percentage figure. The proposed millage rate is 1.21% below the rolled back rate.
Correct. I just wanted to make sure the record was corrected because I think just mistakenly you said 1.121.
Thank you.
Anyone, Commissioner Shelley?
Yeah, Brian, a quick question for you. In talking to the tax assessor's office this last week, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they had told me that the taxes that we're getting now are based on 2019's assessments.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so, and they are also saying that they anticipate a larger drop next year because this year is falling. Is that also correct?
Well, most of our taxes beginning of the year because they're declining, but according to this, yes, will be coming lower. But we have to.
So the reason I bring this up is because obviously it's a little early now, but when we start doing the budget, I think we have to be very cautious and conservative that we anticipate a bigger drop next year than this year because I use this year's assessments. That's all. I just want to bring it up, and I wanted to make sure I was correct in my understanding when speaking to them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner want to comment? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Commissioner Mizrahi. You do have to, sorry, you have to raise it where the camera, yeah, thanks.
I just want to say that considering that everything that's happened in this year with raising the salaries of our employees and the property value going down, I think that we did amazing. So Brian and all your team, Ron, everyone, thank you, because I don't think any other city has done what we did. So really, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner? Okay, then I'm going to open the item for public comment and request the city clerk to review the procedure should anyone want to provide comments.
If there's any members of the public wishing to provide a comment on this item, please tap your screen to raise your hand at this time. If you are on a phone, please press *9 in order to raise your hand to provide a comment on this item. Mayor, I'm not seeing anybody wishing to provide comments at this time.
Okay, then I'm going to close the item for public comment and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Namonski?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg?
Yes.
And Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item on our agenda is Ordinance B, and I'm going to request that the city attorney read it, please.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, adopting the attached tentative operating and capital budget as reviewed and approved by the City Commission at the review meeting held on July 16th, 2020, as the City of Aventura final budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year pursuant to Section 4.05 of the City Charter, authorizing expenditure of funds established by the budget, providing for budgetary control, providing for personnel authorization, providing for gifts and grants, providing for amendments, providing for procedures regarding encumbrances and the reappropriation of unexpended capital appropriations, establishing the committed fund balance for capital reserve, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, can I please ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance made by Commissioner Landman, seconded by Commissioner Narodsky? I'm going to request the city manager to review this item.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, this ordinance really approves the actual operating budget and capital improvement budget that we reviewed, again, at the workshop. The only changes that were recommended were, as the mayor stated in the beginning of her comments, the 1% to be added to the salary adjustment. That was greatly appreciated. And now that we have a little more information on our safety cameras that are throughout the city, we're adjusting the revenue projections for next year down a little bit, of about $135,000 to $1.5 million. You know, driving around recently, the traffic definitely seems to be picking up, which will impact that, I'm sure. But just to be on the safe side, we normally are very conservative on this area. So we're going to keep it, we're going to just keep it a little, you know, lower than we normally would.
Oh,
Other than that, it's all the expenses and revenues, all the capital projects, and all the departments, their expenditures as we expect throughout the year.
okay, I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments. Okay, I have one question for our city manager. How is the locker room going?
It's going. The lockers are here on site, and they're working over there. Actually, they're also redoing the water main through the back of the building, through the back of the property. So we should be ready when school gets going again.
Okay, that's exciting. All right, I'm going to open the item for public comment.
Members of the public wishing to provide a comment on this item, please tap your screen to raise your hand. And if you're on a phone, please press *9 in order to raise your hand. Mayor, I'm not seeing anybody wishing to provide comments at this time.
And I'm going to close the item for public comment and ask you for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
With that, I'm going to request for a motion to adjourn.
A motion.
A motion to adjourn the budget meeting was made by Commissioner Narodsky, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Landman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The first budget committee hearing meeting is over. We will now move directly into the local planning agency meeting, September 8th, 2020, which will be followed by our regular commission meeting. I'm going to ask the clerk to call roll.
Mayor Weissman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Here.
Commissioner Landman,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Here.
Commissioner Narodsky, Commissioner Shelley,
Yeah.
Mr. Lawson,
Here.
Mr. Wolpin.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Walpin, seeing as I have read this disclaimer about why we're doing the meeting on Zoom, can I just use what's already been stated for this meeting and for our commission meeting as well?
Yes, Mayor, that'll be satisfactory. That'll be incorporated into the record of the proceedings.
Okay, thank you so much. And
Thank
as
you.
the pledge was already done during the first budget hearing, it will also stand. I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Motion.
Made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes, with that, we have approved the minutes of April 6th, 2020. And I'm going, item number 4, public hearing, motion recommending adoption of the following ordinances. I'm going to request the city attorney to read ordinance A.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the comprehensive master plan by amending the future land use map designation for a 1.5 acre city-owned parcel of land known as Peace Park, located at 3200 Northeast 188th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, from medium-high density residential to parks and recreation, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan, and providing for an effective date.
Can I please have a motion recommending the adoption of the ordinance? Made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks. I'm going to request the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, to present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. City staff is recommending that the local planning agency recommend approval to the City Commission of a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to change the land use designation of the 1.5 acre city-owned Peace Park on Northeast 188th Street from medium-high density residential to parks and recreation. The land on which Peace Park was constructed was deeded to the city in 2013, and the park opened in 2016. The land use designation was not changed at that time and should now be completed to ensure that the future land use map reflects the public park use. It's really just a housekeeping item to the comprehensive plan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments? All right, seeing as there are none, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item?
Mayor, I'm not seeing any comments at this time.
Okay, I will close the item for public comment, and I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landon,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
and Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes on first reading.
All right, I'm going to request that the city attorney read ordinance B and provide the procedures for the quasi-judicial hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. For this item, the quasi-judicial procedures of the city are invoked since it is a rezoning in nature. Any staff reports and testimony provided before this body as the local planning agency will automatically be incorporated into the record as this item appears later this evening on the commission agenda. This is an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the City of Aventura by amending the zoning designation from RMF3B, multifamily medium density residential district, to ROS, recreation open space district, for a 1.5 acre city-owned parcel of land known as Peace Park, located at 3200 Northeast 188th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'm going to request the clerk to swear in those wishing to offer testimony on item 4B.
Those members of staff that are going to be providing comments, I need you to raise your right hand and be sworn in. For members of the public and are planning on providing comments on this item on 4B, I need you to raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon, or if you're on your phone, by pressing star 9 to be sworn in. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion recommending the adoption of this ordinance. Made by Vice Mayor Weinberg, seconded by Commissioner Shelley. I'm going to request that Community Development Director Joanne Carr present staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the corresponding rezoning to the comprehensive plan future land use designation ordinance that was just heard. City staff is recommending that the local planning agency recommend approval to the City Commission of an amendment to change the official zoning map designation of Peace Park on Northeast 188th Street from RMF 3B, multifamily medium density residential district, to ROS, recreation open space. And again, the zoning designation was not changed at the time that the city acquired and opened the park, and should now be completed to recognize that park use on our zoning map. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'm going to ask if any members of the commission have any questions or comments on this item. I will now open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this item?
We're not seeing anybody who would like to provide comments at this time.
Okay, then I'll close the item for public comment and ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Naronski,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. I'd now like to have a motion to adjourn the meeting of the local planning agency. Made by Commissioner Naronski, seconded by Commissioner Shelley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, looks like it's unanimous. Does anybody need a break? Fine. We're going to go right into the City Commission regular meeting, September 8th, 2020. I'm going to ask the clerk to call roll.
Mayor Weissman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Here.
Commissioner Landman,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Here.
Commissioner Naronski,
Sure.
Commissioner Shelley,
Here.
Mr. Wasson,
Here?
and Mr. Wolfen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Once again, I'm not going to read the executive orders because we read that at our first meeting, nor will we have to say the pledge. So I'm going to ask the city manager, has there been a request for deletions or emergency additions to the agenda?
Not at this time.
Well, it's either at this time or never. We'll move on to special presentations. And
Okay,
Yeah.
Mayor, actually I have two, but I'm gonna tell you who they are, but I'm gonna hold that when we all meet in person again, that these two individuals will come and be recognized at a regular commission meeting, or a live commission meeting. Michelle Augustine is a PSA. She's been with the city for 15 years. You've probably seen her out there. She handles, you know, the car accidents, giving out tickets, code enforcement at times, and generally helping all aspects of police work without the aid of carrying a weapon. And we have Christopher Alfaro, a police officer who served for 10 years. He's in personnel and he's in the training bureau, but don't let that fool you. On his spare time, he's on the SWAT team. So we'll be recognizing him and Michelle hopefully real soon.
that will be a pleasure. The City of the Aventura City of Excellence School update from Principal Tricala. I'm going to ask you to try and provide the update to us now.
There he is.
Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, and Commission. ACES has enjoyed a pretty great start to the school year, thanks to, of course, the dedication of our teachers, but also the very enthusiastic approach of our students. They came back very hungry for learning and ready to get rolling. Our parents have been very patient, and of course, the unwavering support of the city. As of today, we've only had some minor issues all resolved through our backup processes, usually within a matter of minutes. For our youngest students, and I know that's been a concern for the commission, it obviously was a concern for the school from the beginning. We've seen them be able to push through and persevere We have worked with the teachers closely to make sure that we're constantly reviewing our processes, making sure they're developmentally appropriate, and that the kids can make it throughout the day. And we've seen success, especially with the kindergarten and first grade teachers owning the developmental process of their student. All teachers are encouraged to incorporate brain breaks, stretch breaks, posture reminders throughout the day. Lots of activities that spur connection and community for all grade levels, and we've been striking the right balance so far. Diagnostic testing has begun for kindergarten through 5th grade students. We're using a controlled environment where they test live on a Zoom, so we're able to see exactly what's happening around them. We've delayed our 6 through 8 diagnostic testing because the platform doesn't allow for the Zoom testing, but we're working on a new protocol that we actually got from other principals in Charter Schools USA, where we are going to ask them to use a secondary device from behind the student, and we're able to get them on a Zoom from that device and see them take their assessment live. Just because the clean data is so necessary in order to drive our instructional decisions, it's been worth it to delay to make sure that's happening appropriately. To avoid delay in interventions, we've started immediately with our interventions using last year's data, last year's groupings. So students are already getting a response to intervention instruction, and our special education services started right from the beginning using a combination of Zoom and Google Meet, whether the teacher is pushing into the class or working independently with the student while they are also observing their live class. Right now, I'm personally focused on reevaluating and finalizing our on-campus plans. I intended today to visit a few schools on the West Coast. I started getting a little bit of asthma. I chose not to go on campus just to not take the risk. But as soon as I'm fully well, I plan on visiting schools within Charter Schools USA, and then also private schools in our immediate vicinity to see their processes and protocols and see how they compare to what we plan on doing. And then obviously I'll present to you soon what we plan on doing once on-campus instruction can resume. So overall, we're happy to have a great start, and we're focused on continued improvement. So that's the ACES update for now.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Tricala? Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks.
Principal Turkala, I have a question for you. What are the hours of the school day right now on Zoom?
It's the same hours we would have normally. So 8:30 to 3 for kindergarten through 5th grade, 8:30 to 3:30 for 6 through 8. For kindergarten and first grade at 1:30, the students are allowed to go asynchronous if the parents choose, and they can take those lessons on their own throughout the afternoon. But there is a live option available as well if they prefer for them to stay on, but the majority choose to take them off. At that point, they're pretty spent at that age.
And then one other question, as you explained that you were, you're going to be looking at other campuses, will you be prepared to present at our meeting on the 17th in terms of exactly what your opening plan would look like?
We will definitely be prepared to present. Data will drive those decisions, whether we have the survey data from the parents. Again, at that point, exactly which questions will be asked, I may not be able to say which teachers and how many teachers and classes are going to happen on campus or how many students in each class, because that's going to be driven by the parent data. But 100% our processes and protocols will be able to be shared at that point.
Thank you.
Commissioner Landman.
Yes, you mentioned that the diagnostic testing for grades 6 through 8 will be with a device in addition to the device that they already have. Will we be providing those devices? Because not everyone may have 2 devices, or what? How will we make sure that happens correctly?
Fortunately, they can do this with a phone. So in 6 through 8, the majority of them will be fine. But if they're not, we're inviting them on campus to take it. So if they can't have the secondary device, we'll do very small groupings on campus, but I think we'll be fine in 6 through 8 with the second device.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Tricala, you didn't mention anything about regression, and we're hearing from every school that the regression so much more than normal years when they're just off for the 2 months of summer. Could you speak to that?
I can honestly say we have not seen that, Mayor. We're just now getting the new data, and obviously 6 through 8 data hasn't come in yet. But in terms of teacher observation and what we've been seeing from our students, they've come in at a level we've never seen in terms of ready day one to get into assignments and working on grade level. And the teachers have been pleasantly surprised with that. But the data is going to tell that story, and we'll know for sure. And of course, we're prepared to enhance our interventions. One thing we've done already is we've contracted with FEV Tutors, which is an outside agency that will help us increase our interventions if we do see a dramatic decrease in student ability compared to more normal years. But we haven't seen it in terms of just observations so far.
That's great.
And the kindergarten students came in so much higher than a typical kindergarten year. And I believe it's because parents were so focused over the summer on preparing students.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And Commissioner Mizrahi.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, are you using the OWL video system, and how is it working?
So the OWL is primarily beneficial if students are in the classroom while students are at home. We do have them set up at the school. Teachers are able to go into those rooms and test them out. But it actually creates a little bit of awkwardness if you're the only one in the room because it provides a panorama view.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, then I'm going to ask and request that Principal McKnight provide an update on Sofer High.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and City Manager. I'm pleased to report that our enrollment is currently at 417 students, and to let you know that our goal is 420. Students, those other 3 students have been invited to attend, and our enrollment manager is waiting on documents to be returned. We are down to 7 students indicated as no-shows, and we have begun to contact those parents directly. The first week of school went very smoothly with online programming, much like Anthony reported, with a few minor technology issues. And when we became aware of them, we corrected them very, very quickly. All parents we have been in contact with have stated they are pleased with how well things have gone and have also expressed that their children are enjoying their classes. We brought the new teachers in for 3 days prior to bringing back the returning teachers. The week before school began was devoted to professional development on curriculum, software, and lesson planning in order to be ready for our students. Ms. Clapier and I hosted 8 parent and student orientation sessions through Zoom. Feedback was positive, and we discussed procedures, software, and general information. Teachers have selected clubs and enrichments that they are sponsoring for their students, and they will be sending out information, and some of them have decided to start their clubs virtually. A virtual cabaret is now being developed by our drama teacher and will be held at the end of September. We are currently determining dates for our NWEA fall assessment period, and our athletic program is developing a calendar for conditioning dates and times prior to game schedule being released. I know you all are aware of this information, but for the good of the public, I'd like to take this opportunity to share with the Aventura community at large our amazing results in student performance for our Cambridge program of advanced studies and advanced placement in the 2020 administration of the 6 courses taken by our students. They achieved an 88.9% pass rate, which is on par with the international statistics. This is significant as all tests taken at DSAHS were 9th graders, and internationally, these results would involve more higher grade level students. This is an amazing result for our participating 9th graders. In advanced placement human geography class, 80% of our students passed the exam, which outpaced district, state, and national averages. And that completes my report for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you so much. And I guess we need to give a big thank you to all of our teachers who worked so hard with the students to get those really amazing results. Are there any commissioners that would like to ask any questions or comments to Mr. McKnight? Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks.
Mr. McKnight, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Principal Turkala. Will you be ready to present to us your opening plans
Yes,
comprehensively.
yes, Dr. Marks, we will be ready.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, David, just a quick question. In talking to some of the college students regarding how they do the testing and how they're monitored, do we have any kind of programs on the computer systems that monitor the kids taking tests? In other words, I hear on some of these campuses, if the kid looks away for a specific time limit, or looks up, or gets up, or moves around, or whatever it is, it triggers something on the computer system to notify the teacher to, watch a little bit more carefully. Do we have anything like that for when we do your testing?
Commissioner Shelley, we don't have any kind of electronic indicator, but I will tell you our teachers are well versed in observing their students while they're online, looking at them while they're working on these exams and assessments. And so they have really done a really good job of making sure that the students focused on their computer screen. They sometimes have the students place their hands within eye shots so that they can see where their hands are at any given moment during assessments. In addition, for writing assessments, we do have a program called turnitin.com that students need to submit their writing samples through this portal, and then it's identified how much of it is their writing and how much of it is being taken from other sources.
Great, thank you so much.
Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to move on to item 5, the consent agenda. And let me ask if any commissioner would like to remove an item from the consent agenda. Okay, so rather long consent agenda. I'll ask for a motion for approval of the items on the consent agenda made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Mizrahi. I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
and Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
The motion passes.
thank you. The next item is ordinances, first reading and public hearings. I'm going to request that the city attorney read the first ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the comprehensive master plan by amending the future land use map designation for a 1.5 acre city-owned parcel of land known as Peace Park, located at 3200 Northeast 188th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, from medium-high density residential to parks and recreation, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan, and providing for an effective date. The staff report would be included in the record from the LPA earlier this evening.
I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance made by Commissioner Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'll request the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, review the item if no one thinks that it needs to be reviewed, since we just went over it about 10 minutes ago. If anyone would like her to review it, please raise your hand. Okay, then I'm going to open the item for any comments or questions that the commission might have. Okay, I'll now open this item for public comment.
Any members of the public wishing to provide a comment on this item, please raise your hands using your raise hand icon. If you're on a phone, please press *9. Mayor, I'm not seeing any comments at this time.
Okay, I'm going to close the item for public comment and ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes on.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is item 7, zoning hearings and the quasi-judicial public hearing. I'm going to request the city attorney to read the procedures for the quasi-judicial hearings and request the clerk to swear in those wishing to offer testimony on items 7A and 7B. Let's start with the attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. For item 7A and 7B, the quasi-judicial procedures of the city will apply. Any person who desires to offer testimony will do so under oath, and the item will be based upon the materials presented. As to item B, the record from the local planning agency is incorporated into the record. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, and I'm going to request that you read resolution for item A.
I'm sorry, at this time, Mayor, I forgot to mention the clerk should swear in any persons who want to offer testimony on item 7A or 7B.
Is there anyone who would, again, this is for the public and our commissioners and staff.
Correct, Mayor.
But
Correct.
staff. So please, city clerk, give them the instructions.
If any members of the staff or the applicant, in addition to any members of the public, are wishing to speak on this item, please raise your hand and be sworn in at this time. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Can I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
Yeah, Mayor, if I'm sorry, if I can interrupt, I'd just like to read the title of that first resolution at this time, if I may. Item
Okay,
7A.
I'd asked it before, but go ahead.
Right, but I mentioned the procedure instead and the clerk's hearing. Thank you. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting conditional use approval to Rec Bar LLC to permit the sale and service of alcoholic beverages at a cocktail lounge bar area within the Penny Restaurant in Unit 904 of the Aventura Mall, 19565 Biscayne Boulevard, City of Aventura, providing for conditions of approval and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of this resolution made by Commissioner Landman, seconded by Commissioner Narodsky? I'm going to request Community Development Director Joanne Carr to present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Rec Bar LLC, operating as Penny Restaurant, is requesting conditional use approval to sell and serve alcoholic beverages at a cocktail lounge bar within the restaurant located in Unit 940, and that's in the new expansion of the Aventura Mall, or ground floor courtyard. Staff is recommending approval of the request with the 10 conditions listed in the staff report. The applicant is proposing to open a restaurant with 1,290 square feet of indoor area, 450 square feet of outdoor patio area, 90 seats at tables and 6 seats at a bar inside the restaurant, and 24 seats outside. The applicant will be applying for a 4 COP SFS class liquor license to sell and serve alcoholic beverages inside and out. So that liquor license is for beer, wine, and hard liquor for a restaurant. The city code provides that conditional use approval is required if an establishment that wishes to sell and serve alcoholic beverages is closer than 1,500 feet to another establishment with an existing liquor license, and closer than 2,500 feet to a religious facility or school. The code does exempt restaurants that serve full course meals, and it also exempts cocktail lounges and bars if the restaurant has at least 150 seats and 2,500 square feet of indoor floor area. In this case, the restaurant is exempt, but the cocktail bar area does not meet the seat or the square footage regulation. It has 96 seats where 150 are required for the exemption, and 1,290 square feet of floor area where 2,500 square feet is required for the exemption. So the conditional use is required. The liquor survey submitted with the application shows 10 establishments that have an alcoholic beverage use and are not exempted by the code within that 1,500 feet. 7 of these establishments are restaurants or kiosks in the Aventura Mall. One is a restaurant in the Esplanade development that's adjacent to the mall. One is the Publix liquor store, and one is the Total Wine and More store. And all of these establishments receive conditional use approval from the City Commission. The liquor survey also shows 1 religious facility and 1 school within the 2,500 feet. That's the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center and the Tower Academy. Staff has analyzed the application using the criteria for approval of conditional uses in section 3173C of the City Code, and finds that it does meet those those criteria. Therefore, approval is recommended, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, let me at this time ask the applicant if they have any comments.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the commission.
I just want to remind everyone you have been sworn in.
Yes. For the record, Mickey Marrero from the law firm Burke, Howardell, Fernandez, Larkin, and Tappan is here on behalf of the applicant. Just a little bit, just very briefly, a little bit more about the restaurant. Pani is a restaurant that's what is established in Buenos Aires, Argentina. They've grown to 9 locations throughout South America, including Peru and Paraguay, and they're quite popular in Argentina. I don't know if y'all had a chance to look into their menu, but basically it's really upscale. It's an upscale restaurant. They offer breakfast, brunch, lunch, and dinner. They have a huge selection of wonderful desserts like a pasticceria, sandwiches, salads, and all kinds of wonderful treats. Aventura Mall has historically done a really good job, I think you all agree, in bringing in world-class tenants and restaurants. I think this certainly is no exception. An idea of what the cocktail bar will be like, if you look at their menu, which I did for their Argentina locations, Aperol Spritz, Campari, what they call a caipi, julep, so really like cocktails, sort of signature cocktails that they do offer that go along with the bakeries and sandwich offerings that they have. So really, I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to the mall, and will go along with some of the other wonderful tenants that they do have in that expansion area. My client is available if you have any questions, or I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. But this is really no different than what we had a couple months ago and all the other conditional uses that you all approved for restaurants in the mall. Thank you.
Let me ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments for Mr. Marrero. Commissioner Shelley. Can't hear you.
Muted.
If we grant this, Joanne, will this run in perpetuity with the land, or is it only for this particular establishment?
It's only for this particular establishment,
Thank you.
in this particular location.
Thank you.
And I'll just mention, I should have said it before, we reviewed Joanne's report and agree with all of staff's conditions and requirements.
Any other commissioner have any questions or comments with the applicant? Okay, I'm going to open this item for public comment.
Any members of the public wishing to comment on this item, please tap your screen to raise your hand using the raise hand icon. If you're on a phone, please press *9. Mayor, there are no comments at this time.
Okay, then I'm going to close the item for public comment and ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you all. Have a good, wonderful
Thank
evening.
you too. I'm going to request that the city attorney read the ordinance for item B.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the City of Aventura by amending the zoning designation from RMF3B, Multifamily Medium Density Residential District, to ROS, Recreation Open Space District, for the 1.5-acre city-owned parcel of land known as Peace Park, located at 3200 Northeast 188th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Could I please have a motion for approval of this ordinance? Made by Commissioner Narotsky, seconded by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks. I'm going to request the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, present the staff report.
City Attorney, City Attorney, you've already stated that all the testimony from the local planning agency is incorporated into record. I'm happy.
That's correct.
Mayor, I'm happy, Mayor, to review it again if anyone would like.
The pleasure of the commission. Anybody want any review on it? Okay, then I'm going to open the item for public comment.
If there's any members of the public wishing to provide a comment on this item, please raise your hand at this time. Mayor, I'm not seeing anybody wishing to comment at this time.
And I'm closing the item for public comment and asking for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Yes.
and Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 8, ordinances on second reading. We have none tonight. And item number 9, resolutions public hearing. We have none. It brings us to item number 10, reports. And I know I have a report from Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 items that I'd like to bring up. The first one is Chick-fil-A opened up on 213 and US 1. And for anyone who's been by, or maybe commissioners who've received phone calls, there seems to be a relatively decent amount of backup in terms of traffic, which is affecting the drive-through over by Target. So just as an FYI, I've reached out to our city manager, and he's going to be looking into this, and he will deal with whatever has to be dealt with in terms of better managing the traffic over there. And I'm sure that he will be updating us as he finds a solution to this. So this was just a little update because I don't know how many of you have gotten calls, but there's a little bit of a traffic jam up by 213. The other item is an update that I would like to give you. As you know, many, many months ago, I asked the commission if I could do a little research on our schools, because in identifying applications, what we found is only approximately 1/3 of the children who apply to ACES actually are able to get into the school. And we are rejecting 2/3 of the students who are Aventura residents because we simply do not have enough room. And so I requested permission from the commission to, along with our city manager, try to see what else would be available out there to possibly give us some additional land. And this is just an update. More will be coming. I am going to ask that, because we are in very, very tentative and delicate negotiations, that this not necessarily be spread all over Facebook and all over all the other areas that we can use with social media, just to respect that this is an update for the commission so that you just know where we are holding right now. Our city manager and I have been very diligently working, and we are very close to being able to come before you with a proposal for some land that would allow us to bring in a minimum of 1/3 more of our children, hopefully more, depending upon what the site looks like in terms of the engineering and some of the other things that we are looking at. So I just wanted to tell you that hope is on the way, and we believe that we will have good news for you very soon. And this is just an update to say that we will soon be bringing more information. This is literally just to say we are working on it, and we're hopeful at this point. And I would ask our city manager if he wanted to add anything else to this.
Thank you, Commissioner Marks. No, you kind of summed it up where it looks good. It looks promising, I would say.
And exciting, and exciting.
This is a situation where the less said, the better.
Correct.
So please, I'm going to ask everyone that's on this to please be respectful of Dr. Mark's wishes about social media, if at all possible.
Or any other communication right now. Just as I said, because we're very close to being able to bring something forward, we don't want anything to be really, we just don't want this to get out of hand right now. The only reason we're actually bringing it up now instead of a month from now when hopefully we'd have everything is, unfortunately, the word seems to have gotten out in certain instances, and it needed to come from the committee and from the city manager and myself, just because this could be an absolutely amazing, exciting, and wonderful addition that will help the children in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Weinberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to add to that.
We're in report, so that if you have a report, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, well, I think I need to report based on that report. So that's why I raised my hand. We empowered Commissioner Marks, and she worked with the manager, and I think it's fabulous. Unrelated to that, I received a phone call and an email, and so I responded. I brought the manager in the loop. I spoke with the city attorney. So I'm not doing anything outside of the commission's authorization. But someone contacted me that I've known for over 40 years, a very, very close family friend from back in Connecticut. And I would just say, I haven't been able to speak with Dr. Marks, but I would concur that we are going to have some very, very good news soon. And I'm not as concerned about it not happening, but certainly not using social media would be a good thing. And letting the discussions with Dr. Marks and the manager continue would be very valuable. But I do expect that this is going to have a very happy ending and be a very great thing for.
All right, I'm going to once again, really and truly, the public is listening, and it's a sensitive issue. So I'm going to respectfully ask that if you have a report to bring, please bring the report. Dr. Marks has made a request of everybody listening, and I think that we need to follow her request. So I'm going back to reports, and I'm asking, does any other commissioner have any other reports for us at this time? Seeing as there are none. Okay, I'm going to request that the city attorney review with the commission members the purpose of public comments.
Thank you, Mayor. This portion of the meeting is for public comments, which means the city commission welcomes receiving comments from the public, but under our rules, the commissioners are not to engage in a discussion with the public or each other on the public comment item. Instead, if any follow-up action is needed, the city manager will follow up subsequent to the meeting with any concern expressed by a resident or other interested person.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to open the item for public comment. And if we have people that wish to speak to the commission, the city clerk will review the procedures. Is there anyone who wants to address the commission?
If there's any member of the public wishing to provide a comment to the commission at this time, please press your screen in order to raise your hand using the raise hand icon, or press *9 if you are calling in from a phone. Mayor, I'm not seeing anybody wishing to provide comments.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing because of lack of comments. Item number 12, other business. There is none scheduled for tonight. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this commission meeting, made by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks, seconded by Commissioner Denise Landman. I'm declaring that this meeting is adjourned. I hope to see all of you very soon, not on Zoom, but the numbers trending seem to look favorable. You hate to say anything, but I think today was the 27th day of under 10%. We're hoping to get under 5% in terms of opening up into the next phase, and certainly having children on site in our schools. So we'll just have to pay attention to the data. I declare the meeting to be adjourned.
Thank you all.
Night,
Have a
Good
good
night.
evening.
Good night, everybody.
Take care. Be well.